The Tod that Developers left behind in Super Mario Galaxy 2. Super, okay, gut. Ich kann Englisch. Gucken wir uns das an, weil ich liebe Mario Galaxy 2. Ich habe 2 lange nicht mehr gespielt. Muss ich aber mal wieder machen. Aber 1 hat wirklich sich in mein Herz gebrannt. Wenn wir das mal irgendwann spielen. Oh Junge. Oh Junge, das wird ein emotionales Projekt. Aber ja. Da bin ich mal gespannt. SwankyBox macht sehr interessante Videos. Die unterhalten mich immer sehr gut.
Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are by far the most lonely of the Mario titles out there. Although some levels are chipper and bright, they are often sandwiched between levels that are existential, looming, and somber. And sometimes this is welcome. I mean, I'm a dude who loves to relax and just think, so levels like this can be great. But sometimes if you enter them while not in the best of moods, they can almost feel depressing. And of course, in today's video, we're going to crank that up a notch. Because while Mario is out here questioning his existence under the grand cosmos, unfortunately, a certain mushroom lad was left behind to rot in the vacuum of space. It's time for another odd trip into Super Mario Galaxy 2, where this time, we're visiting a toad that's drifting out in space. I hope you enjoy. So Cosmic Cove Galaxy is...
Ich bin mal gespannt, ob der irgendeinen Dialog zu sagen hat, oder ob der einfach so ein, Failsafe-Dialog hat, wenn man dann versucht, ihn anzuquatschen. Da bin ich mal gespannt.
It's an interesting level. It's just this giant rock with water that wraps around it completely, and during certain missions, this water can be frozen. There's a few different missions in this particular level, and for this video, we are going to be focusing on Mission 1 at first. Twin Falls Hideaway, the first mission, takes Mario completely around this water-filled space valley. According to the locals, some swimming drills are taking place. In this level, you typically grab a shell, coast past some penguins, and make your way to the waterfall that has an underwater cave under it. Upon exiting this cave, you are now in the bay area of the level, where you must freeze the water in order to climb the Twin Falls to the star. But this is where things get interesting.
Da war eine Maus im Bild, das war nicht meine.
Star and look out across the horizon. Slightly above your character, you'll see a giant...
Ja, es hieß tatsächlich, You are Mr. Gay. Und wenn man dann die Sterne bei Mario Galaxy 2 nimmt und die Folge dann rückwärts sieht, dann wird gesagt, ja, are you? Also ja, weil, wisst Bescheid.
Giant Saturn-like planet. This is a planet that you eventually visit in a later star, but it still exists in this first mission. If we make our way up to this planet with a flying hack, we'll find that gravity is deactivated, and it's really, really hard to approach. If you're not careful, your character will bump into a wall and then fall to their death. It is possible to land on this planet though. And while this planet is kind of neat in this barren state, it's not actually 100% deserted, because there's a toad that lingers nearby.
Oh Gott, oh Gott, oh Gott, so wie der aussieht. Seht euch diese Arme an, oh mein Gott. Ich weiß, was Low-Pony-Modelle sind, ja. Aber ich wusste nicht, dass das bei dem Toad so gruselig ist. Ach du Scheiße. Ui. Das hat meinen Schrecken angejagt.
So back when I put out a video about breaking Super Mario Galaxy 2 with 2 players, which if you haven't watched it yet, it's truly absurd. Anyways, back when that video was released, an individual named the Switch Gamer had posted a comment on the video about how he had located this weird floating toad. Ultimately, it was this comment that led me to checking out his channel to see what it was all about. And that's what led me to where we are. So right in front of our character, quite a ways out in space, is Captain Toad. He's just floating amidst the stardust, just bopping up and down in his less powerful, low polygon form. And initially, this is strange, because there is nothing else around him. So of course, I do what any fool does in movies where a horrible space monster is encountered. I decide to flip a coin to determine whether I live or die, and I approach the strange being. Unfortunately, that was a bad move. As I slowly got closer to the toad, resisting the urge of gravity fields pulling me out to deep space, I realized I had fallen for a trap. My plan was to jump on Toad's head like a jolly old plumber, but what I got was getting baited into a gravity sphere, spinning around and around endlessly. It's kind of creepy because with Toad floating above us, it actually looks like Mario got stuck in Toad's spell or something. I was lured like a moth to a flame, and Mario was helpless. So okay, a deadly floating toad is cool and all, but let's talk about what is really going on here. So Super Mario Galaxy 2 has several scenarios for each level. These scenarios are tied to the obtainable stars. And when you choose a star, a specific set of objects are loaded. Sometimes these objects are grouped into areas known as zones. and a zone can consist of a planet and the various objects found on and around that planet. This also can affect gravity, as it can determine what gravity planes can be loaded at any given time. So this demonic floating toad is actually very similar to another video I did in the past, called The Block the Developers Left Behind, hence why this video is named what it is. You see, this toad exists because the developers essentially forgot to group him in with the zone/sequence objects that are called upon when the star for exploring the cosmic cavern is selected. Normally in this level, Mario makes his way through an underground water-filled cavern that has several side-scrolling sections. He eventually then makes his way to Toad's spaceship for a checkpoint flag, before proceeding to the Saturn planet we landed on earlier. So everything about this Captain Toad was successfully grouped to the star. But because Captain Toad wasn't, he's essentially a universal object. In any scenario, he will be found floating out in space, regardless of his spaceship and surrounding objects are present. The only reason we cannot see Captain Toad by looking at the above planet from Cosmic Cove's main planet is because of the draw distance of the game, as certain objects only load in once they are a specific distance from the player. Every area down below is too far in distance, so a player would never know Captain Toad is up here, floating by himself, unless they manage to make it into his active range. Add this as another reason to why Cosmic Cove as a level is both peaceful and relaxing, but also existential and slightly depressing. Toad's drifting out in space, and no one can hear the lad scream. So, on that positive note, I hope you enjoyed this quick dive into an odd gaming asset, and I'll see you all in my next video.
Ich finde es interessant, wie es einfach immer schafft, bei jemandem mit Super Mario Galaxy Depression auszulösen. Also ihr seid echt fantastisch, sehr fantastisch.